we're going to talk a little bit about the Irish in St. Louis. That comes out of my Missouri Irish book that I wrote back in 1984, and it's really an interesting story. Names like Brady and McKnight, who were traders, moved in around 1809 and made a big impact. And the Kerry Patch, which was famous then and it's famous now in St. Louis, that was a settlement of Irish who came in during the famine, and it was sponsored in part by John Mullanphy, who was the first millionaire west of the Mississippi in those parts. And he was born in County Fermanagh in 1758, and he fought in the wars and then came over and ended up settling in St. Louis. There was a lot of conflict between the old Irish and the new Irish, as you might imagine. There was several articles in the newspaper, and they talk about that on the levee near St. Patrick's Church, messengers or deckhands, they're mostly Irish, were coming from each vessel, and there were groups of infected persons lying on deck and lying in moribund state. So they were disease-ridden and in very sad shape. So you can imagine what kind of fear that might have struck throughout the city of St. Louis. So it sure is good that there was someone there to help, somebody like Mullanphy and Kenrick and those folks. Two of the first newspapers in the city were started up by Irishmen, each with different political points of view, as you might think. And the Aaron Benevolent Society was started as early as 1818. The Friends of Ireland in 1841. The AOH started around 1870, which is pretty close to when it started in Kansas City as well. And I just wanted to get these few starting things out there to you to spark your imagination on the history of the Irish in St. Louis.